Now therefore be resolved by the Common Council of the City of Newcastle, the written fiscal plan hereto and incorporated into Exhibit A is hereby adopted for the annexation territory proposed annexation set by the ordinance. So the area description, proposed annexation area consists of one parcel number 007-93128-00 that is approximately 2 feet in width, 297 feet in length between the real estate commonwealth and 3124 Willis Street, 1609 Riley Road, 1650 Riley Road, 3204 Locust Street. The annexation area is located to the south of the existing corporation boundaries of the City of Newcastle, current land use and zoning. Assessed valuation parcel 007-93128-00. Assessed valuation has not been established. Use vacant, zoning residential.
Just for clarification purposes, this is the annexation that's contemplated in ordinance as part of your packet today. It's basically a strip of land between several properties that's currently undeveloped. I believe the owners are wanting to annex it because they want to extend some development into that property. Part of their current property is located in the city, this part is currently in the county. So obviously there won't be any additional cost to the city. It's vacant land, there won't be any development.
Okay, I'll move you past 03072-022-1, the first row, this reading. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mike Duffy.
Aye.
Jeff Hinkle.
Aye.
Jerry Walden. Aaron Jenkins.
Aye.
Mark Silver.
Aye.
Glenn Purdue.
Aye.
Rex Beckman.
Aye. And now we're moving on to resolution 03072-022-2.
Before you read this, I sent an email, maybe it was too late, since I've got some high school students here for this. If I can go ahead and present the results of our greenhouse gas.
That would be awesome.
That way they can kind of skate out of here. I don't know if the public was able to pick up these. I don't know if they were over there. Yeah, okay, perfect. Well, I'll be brief. My name's Aaron Dickin, and I am here presenting on behalf of the Newcastle Climate Action Team, just to recount and to show what your money went to and went for, which I think is a huge deal. I think this is the first type of report and study that we've done in regards to this. I think it will open up a lot of other opportunities for us in terms of sustainability. Instead of giving you the full report, which is a number of pages, I put a synopsis together. If you scan the QR code in the top right, it'll take you to the full report. I think we found a couple other edits that we need to make, so that link might not work in the future, but we'll try to let it hang out there for a while. So with my counterpart, Crystal Stanich from the library, wait, Crystal, we spent a lot of hours on the computer, Zoom, Google Meets, with IU. This was a program out of IU, and with ICLEI, which is an organization in environmental studies. We also spent a lot of hours one-on-one because neither Crystal nor I are experts in this field. So it's with the help of a lot of our department heads, clerk treasurer, we were able to get information, and some other community partners, we were able to get information, punch it into their program, and some of the national factors kicked out the greenhouse gas emissions. You can see the chart at the top, how that broke down. Probably no surprise that industrial was the big one, followed by residential, and then commercial and transportation. Some data came from Duke Energy, for example, sent us a big report. We got some numbers from Henry County REMC, as well as Hayes Landfill and other entities. And I guess I should back up and say this is all based on 2019. Even though we did it last year, they stated that 2020 obviously was not a good year to go off of. But And the whole goal, and that's what's going to be in this resolution, is that we see a 50% reduction in emissions by 2030. I mean, that's kind of the national goal, and it's a pretty big one. So the question I want you guys to think about, it doesn't have to be answered tonight, but I mean, that's why we're all here. And you guys may not have to deal as much with the problems and effects of this as these kids that are here, but how are we going to help them not have as much to chew, I guess. So a summary of the possible action items. I put check marks by the things that are already in progress. Sustainability resolution, I put forthcoming, but you're obviously going to hear that tonight. The Newcastle Climate Action Team Climate Festival, April 30th. That is an event at the Arts Park. Basically, what has happened in my hopes and dreams was to just basically hand this off to high school students. Diana Bowman at the high school was gracious enough to let us get involved with her environmental club at the high school. We've had meetings, and not just Crystal and I, obviously there's several other community. Raise your hand if you're a community partner with the Newcastle Climate Action Team. So we've gotten a lot of great involvement from the community, but these kids that are in the environmental club, I won't make you stand up, you can just wave, finger, whatever. They want to put this into action. That was obvious from meeting number one. And so this Climate Action Team Climate Festival is probably going to be the first of many. So look for details forthcoming on that. I'll make sure you guys have them. Tree planting for the bicentennial and work with existing city tree plan. I believe the bicentennial committee is working on that with Crystal. And we're working on the area of where to put those trees. Electric vehicle charging stations, I know those are in the works and just need to get them installed and maybe some more coming. I've been working with Dave Stutes, who's also here. No, we've seen something. We're doing some air quality testing, and he's been gracious enough to work with the city. You can see the area there. It's going to be a pretty wide area, and he can get into the technical stuff more than I can if you ask him sometime. But this basically will be able to put a widget on our website, and anybody from anywhere can see what our air quality is. I think that's really great. It shows we're thinking the right way. Some other things down the line: develop a better recycling plan. We've talked about that in the past. Further develop bike pedestrian plan. That's ongoing. Electric public transit buses and department vehicles, I think, would be a pretty low-hanging fruit if we wanted to go after that. And it's solar power for municipal utilities. They're talking rooftops, and I can't speak to that a lot, but we have tried to talk to Duke about what all that entails. The other thing that you have a copy of is an idea here to return the old street department. Obviously, one way of offsetting these greenhouse gas emissions, I think a lot of people think recycling, and they think electric vehicles, and they think solar panels and wind turbines. It's as simple as planting some trees and conserving the air, natural land that you have. So this is just a toss-up. Obviously, I think the city has already granted Henry County RIPS, who's been removes invasive plant species, access to tear out the invasive plants, and they've been doing that. This goes a little further than that. It would really be no cost to the city other than some hours of moving some materials. And I know Mr. Walker and I've talked about that before, and I'm not sure what's possible and what's not. Hopefully we'll think outside the box and get creative. And then they said instead of burning all the stuff in the coal, you can ship it, and that would remove it very well. So that's really, I wanted to keep it short, but you can read the report. To steal Corey's line, if you have trouble going to sleep tonight. So any questions, comments? Anyone else have any comments? Students included.
Has Dr. Stussy been helping you on this?
Yes. So Dr.
That's
Stussy,
all I need to know.
Dr.
We
Stussy.
just about towed her car down there the other day, Chief. That's why her car was sitting there for 4 hours.
Oh, yeah.
I knew exactly what she's doing once I found out.
Yeah, no, you're good. Well, and I was hoping somebody would come check me when I was down there the other day so I could tell them I was a sustainability contact for the city. But she gave me, in that 4 hours, just to give you an idea, 1 volunteer hour of work, and in her hour of work on, it's probably March 4th, remove 15 honeysuckles, I mean, just a whole bunch of stuff. I can show you the list, but I mean, it's crazy what kind of work she has done, and the volunteers too. I mean, they don't mess around. So it's ridiculous.
Be about to tow their car.
Yes, sir.
So Penny went to a site selection conference earlier this year or late last year. And one of the themes from that conference were companies looking to invest. They are seeing an uptick in the companies caring about what the local community is doing about sustainability. And so the fact that you all have been working on this and there's a report available,
Right.
it helps, I just want to go on the record, it helps in the business attraction arena. It helps in the people attraction arena.
I appreciate you adding that. I mean, this is, like I said, something I don't think that we've had, and it's, to nobody's fault. I think the traction's picking up, but that's when we want to get involved, right, and start doing these things. If the traction's there, it doesn't take much to move us forward. And just in the stuff that we've done, we've taken a step forward, and I think we need to publicize that on our website and make sure that people know, hey, we're thinking ahead by several decades.
Here,
Yes, ma'am.
really wouldn't think this in Indiana, but we're actually, I think, 45th in terms of air quality. That's low, that's not on top. So it's a problem.
And the only wrong thing is to not do anything. Whatever we do is forward progress.
Well, and on top of that, man, I've been part of planting almost 6,000 trees the last 3 years through the state of Indiana. So there is a resource that, put all these trees through the state. Nothing like a skid steer with an auger attachment. So that's a great resource. Trees are very inexpensive. And Aaron, really want to thank you and the group and the kids for establishing this. And please don't leave it. Keep moving. And this is a good thing. It's your future. So it's very important what you're doing.
Susie, have you placed any of those monitors out and about yet?
No, but I do.
Come on, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Dave Stutz. But I do have my trusty sensor I carry with me all the time. We may be 48, but Henry County might be better because everywhere I go, and I take this with me everywhere, I've seen really actually pretty good results. So it may be a matter of just preserving what we have.
Well, when you turn those numbers in, we may climb the ladder if our numbers are good that you're monitoring. We've never monitored it before.
That's the whole point. I mean, we have to have a benchmark, right? And if the benchmark's good, that's great, but we have to keep it there, right?
And how many of those do you say you're going to?
This is a personal one. The ones I'm trying to put out are, I'm trying to put up 2 outdoor monitors within the next 2 years. These are expensive pieces of equipment, so, it's and getting a hold of them is kind of a challenge sometimes. But I'm going to get 2 outdoor sensors up in the next 2 years. And then indoor air quality is also an issue. So I'm also trying to get maybe 2 to 4 indoor sensors in public spaces. And also I'm working with Diana Bowman, and she's going to help me to put an air sensor in the field house and Bundy Auditorium. So that's kind of the plan for now.
Good, thank you.
Just something just real quick, have the businesses as far as manufacturing been notified in Newcastle or even told about this? Because why I say this, I go to TMMK, which is Toyota Motor Manufacturing in Kentucky, huge plant. And man, they post this stuff in their plant because they get involved. So
Yeah, no, I don't, I mean, that's a good idea to
Right,
maybe
good.
for the climate summit, just to, I mean, maybe invite them and also show them a copy of the report, this synopsis, so they can look at the report themselves. Because you're right, I mean, and I think, and Corey can probably speak to this, it's not like it used to be when, you see a big factory going in, you don't think smokestacks. I mean, they are really intense on it, those kind of
And
statements.
they put out a lot of information. I read the boards on them.
Yeah.
It's huge. Just thought.
Well, thanks for letting me sneak in there. I just want to make sure I can let them go, because I think they're supposed to eat 1,000-degree pizza or something awesome instead of sit in across 17 other resolutions, so.
Move to adjourn.
So, I mean, on behalf of the council, thank you guys for taking this and running with it, because, I mean, like we've all said, you guys are what's going to move it forward, so appreciate you coming tonight. Thank you. And thank you, Crystal, for having us.
Okay. Resolution 03072, resolution supporting issues and reducing negative effects of climate change in the city of Newcastle, Indiana. Whereas the new climate change research center is members continuing business as usual, no action on carbon emissions. Exhibit should expect increased risk of public health, infrastructure, and agriculture with increased heat wave, intensity and frequency, more extreme droughts, increased heavy weather events and flooding, decreasing agricultural yield and degrading air and water quality. Whereas the average temperature trend analysis from NASA Goddard Institute for Space Studies surface temperature shows significant average temperature rise. Whereas the American Meteorological Society has declared there is unequivocal evidence of changing climate since the 1950s. Whereas numerous respected agencies and organizations, including the American Mud Association, the National Academy of Sciences, and the Department of Defense Quadrennial Defense Review, have determined that climate change is a serious risk to life, a threat multiplier, and a threat to national security. Whereas localized risk to Hoosiers affecting human health, infrastructure, and agriculture, including costly and dangerous extreme heat and drought conditions, record-breaking rains and subsequent floods, and overall chaotic weather extremes. Whereas in 2008, 82 of Indiana's 92 counties, including Henry, were declared presidential disaster areas due to winter weather, severe storms, and flooding, and occurred over $1.9 billion in damage to public infrastructure, housing, and agriculture. Whereas extreme weather and temperature change associated with climate change caused accelerated damage to Newcastle's infrastructure, roads and paths, and to our water utilities. Whereas the city of Newcastle participated in the 2021 Indiana University Resilience Cohort to complete a greenhouse gases inventory in the Newcastle community. Whereas further increasing the efficiency of our buildings, vehicles, and electrical usage, our community will conserve energy, reduce waste, reduce pollution, and promote jobs in the clean energy sector. Whereas a shift to clean, renewable energy is inevitable due to the finite nature and non-renewable fossil resources. Whereas a local, individualized climate plan will allow Newcastle to continue to show leadership in improving the quality of life for its residents. Whereas the city of Newcastle is already working to better our environment through stormwater management, cleaning of brownfields, and being forward-thinking in terms of planning. Whereas various economic analysis have shown that it's possible to reduce climate mitigation at a low cost and benefit without no cost. Whereas the greatest burden resulting from an inadequate response to address climate change will be carried by the youngest generation of follow. Now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Newcastle that 1, to the extent possible, the City of Newcastle will promote and encourage initiatives to reduce the carbon footprint, ensure water and air quality standards, support biodiversity by planting native plants, encourage locally responsible growing food, waste reduction, reuse, recycling, and composting, and augment transportation strategies like walking, biking, carpooling, using mass transit. 2, the City of Newcastle will work to achieve a 50% reduction in 2019 greenhouse gas pollution levels by the year 2030, utilizing grant opportunities for research, data harvesting, planning, and goal setting. 3, the City of Newcastle will work to create and implement a climate action plan by 2025 and investigate the viability of creating an office and sustainability to help achieve the aforementioned. 4, the city of Newcastle will engage business leaders, faith leaders, youth leaders, and community leaders from diverse populations to ensure all voices are included in the long-term sustainability planning process. Mr. Dickon, would you like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll move that we pass resolution 0307-2022-2.
Second.
Thank you.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mike Happy.
Aye.
Jeff Hancock.
Aye.
Jerry Walter. Aaron Dickens.
Aye.
Mark Coburn.
Aye.
Bud Rudy.
Aye.
Rex Beckendorf.
Aye.
Corey, I'm thinking food industry, all the people you get soliciting us for food, that this would perk their ears a little bit to be able to have study.
Okay, now we move on to Resolution Z. Resolution 030-72022-3. Resolution authorizing the allocation of coronavirus local fiscal recovery funds for the provision of specified government services and amending the city's written plan for expenditure. I'm going to skip this because we've read all this a few times as we went through it. Basically, now therefore be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Newcastle, Indiana as follows. 1, the Common Council hereby allocates a sum of up to $430,000 to the city's general fund as replacement of revenue lost due to the COVID-19 health emergency. The city of Newcastle elects to utilize the standard allowance fund of $10 million for the purpose of calculating revenue loss. 3, the funds allocated to the city's general fund under this resolution are appropriated for the following purposes only. A, the sum of up to $80,000 for the construction and repair of the sidewalk adjacent to the Bakery of Diamond and Little League Diamond from M Avenue to High Avenue. And B, the sum of up to $350,000 for the completion of the construction of the station for use by the city's police department. Construction must be completed on December 31st, 2022, unless a date for completion is extended by the Common Council. 4, a written fiscal plan of the expenditure of revenue received from the coronavirus local fiscal recovery fund is attached as Exhibit A, and the remaining sums received by the City of Newcastle may be utilized for any purpose set forth in 42 U.S. Code 803. The written plan will be amended from time to time as determined by the Commerce Council. I'd like to move that we pass resolution 030-72022-3.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, Chief Schofield, can you explain a little bit more about what's going to be involved with the station, because it's more than just offices, correct?
Well, the whole police department will be moving down there, either to have their secure, what do you call your secure storage.
Yeah, it's gonna be basically a brand new modern police department, even though the outside of the building is not brand new. We're gonna have all state-of-the-art evidence storage, evidence collection area, all new offices for detectives, all new, we're gonna do dual interview rooms that only be able to interview one person at a time. We're gonna be able to do 2 people at a time. It's just gonna be completely modernized compared to what we got downstairs. We're gonna have 2 bays that are specifically designed for evidence collection of vehicles. We'll have technicians come in and do all the DNA swabs and everything else. There'll be 2 different bays down there. And then also, as big as the building is, it leaves us room to grow in the future if we decide we're gonna be boom, we have to hire more people. We got plenty of room to grow.
So it's more than just offices.
Right, and also, Chief, I felt one big thing about it is the safety issue for our officers and our other employees, because no longer is it just a window.
Right.
They'll be,
Yeah, all the glass, the front office is all bullet resistant, and the secretaries will be face to face with people and have bullet resistant glass there in the front lobby. So, and also with we've got a pretty big training room, or seen that before, we'll be able to hold more trainings at the station itself, plus with the gated fence. We don't have to leave our car
Now Corey Murphy lured me to a meeting last week because I got confused. I thought it was brought. Okay, basically, this stems from some action we took a few months ago. Whereas one of the primary objectives of city government is to continue to strengthen Newcastle's economic and community development efforts, particularly those efforts focused on enhancing the development of the city's historic downtown. Whereas the city's economic and community development strategy is multifaceted and involves leveraging public, private, and philanthropic engagement to bolster the city's vitality and ensure that its economy continues to grow in a way that provides opportunities for city residents. Whereas this strategy includes the city's support for Newcastle Main Street as Indiana nonprofit corporation is in federal taxation pursuant to Section 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986. Newcastle Main Street's charitable and public purposes include a robust portfolio of initiatives that further the city's economic and community development towards our ability to read all of the things that Main Street does. We clear those. We'll go to now therefore be resolved. Now therefore be resolved by the Common Council of the City of Newcastle, Indiana, that Section 1, the Common Council supports Newcastle Main Street and establishment of the BRAP initiative and the BRAP committee. Section 2, the Common Council appoints to the and the council acknowledges and affirms that the advancement of public purpose where the city is an express governmental burden, and NCMS's anticipated activities include the Pratt initiative to lessen the burdens of city government with respect to those purposes that is contemplated in Rule 85-2. I'd like to move to accept Resolution 0307202-4. Any discussion from the members of the council? Roll call vote.
Mike Duffy.
Aye.
Jeff Hancock. Jerry Walden. Aaron Dickens. Mark Hover. Lynn Purdue. Rex Beckman.
Aye. That being said, we have an appointment to that committee, and I'd like to move to appoint Bill Brown to that committee. Second.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call vote.
Mike Duffy.
I'll make it a good point to that. And this is just kind of where I was thinking. Everybody that I could think of was all downtown. And I started thinking that probably wasn't a good idea because I think there's room for, and they would just have to recuse themselves, right? But I know that Mr. Brown owns quite a bit of property in the district that we're setting. Is that going to be an issue?
Well, the mayor's going to appoint one person to the committee, and he owns quite a bit of property, and I'm sure that it's going to be hard to find people. I don't know who Main Street's going to appoint.
Right. No, I would agree.
But he has, Bill has the background in construction and things to be able to make good decisions. That he would have to recuse himself just like some other people.
Yes, yeah.
Anyway, roll call vote, please.
Mike Duffy.
Aye.
Jeff Hancock. Jerry Walden. Aaron Dickens.
Nay.
Mark Hover. Lynn Purdue. And Rex Beckman.
Aye. Okay, now we'll move on to first reading of ordinance 3879. Yeah, it was there, it's not here. Thanks. Okay, this goes back to the resolution we passed earlier. Whereas Charles, this is ordinance 3879, whereas Charles Martin and Donna Martin submitted a petition requesting the city of Newcastle, Indiana, annex certain undeveloped real estate they own. Whereas at least 1/8 of the aggregate external boundaries of the proposed territory to be annexed coincides with the boundaries of the city. Whereas the city will adopt a written fiscal plan and establish a definitive policy related to the annexation prior to the adoption of this ordinance. Therefore, be ordained by the Common Council of the City of Newcastle, Indiana, that the following described real estate is hereby annexed into the corporate limits of the city of Newcastle, Indiana, and declared to be a part of the city to wit, 10 feet by parallel lines on the north side of lot 62 of Murraydale addition to the city of Newcastle, as shown by the records of Henry County, Indiana, as described in instrument number 202109654, parcel number 33-12-12-135-000-015, parentheses 007-93128-00, parentheses closed. The annexed area is assigned to the following municipal legislative district, and therefore the map depicting the annexed area is attached to Exhibit A. I move we pass 3879 on first reading. Okay, any discussion, questions? Okay, hearing none, roll call vote.
Mike Duffy.
Aye.
Jeff Hancock.
Aye.
Jerry Walden.
Aye.
Aaron Dickens.
Aye.
Mark Hogan.
Aye.
Cliff Richard.
Aye.
Rex Beckman.
Aye. Okay, so that passes in first reading, is there, there's no hurry?
Well, you have to have a public hearing, so
Yeah.
the next meeting we'll have a hearing on it.
Okay, let's move, Chief Schofield, would you like to present?
Sure.
I've given each of you the 2021 annual report from Newcastle Police Department. And I'm gonna try to just kind of skip through it, so I don't take too long, so you guys can go to page about 8 or 8. At the top, it says NCPD service calls. And you can see the amount of total calls we've taken over the last couple of years. As you noticed, 2020 was probably our lowest, obviously due to COVID. And in 2021, you started seeing it pick up again as things started to kind of open back up. We anticipate as things continuing to open back up, those numbers will eventually go above the 11,000 calls per year. But to try to alleviate some of the calls and some of the calls that aren't, I guess, criminal, we came up with our own policy. We're not going to respond to certain calls that is not necessarily required of us. So, some landlord-tenant disputes, child custody disputes, and these are all because they're non-criminal. When we go to these child custody disputes, we can't make the decision, that's the judge's order. So therefore, sometimes we're wasting an hour, 2 hours trying to make a deal with the two parties to try to settle things. So we're anticipating the calls to start increasing as things continue to open up. The next page is it shows our arrests and our uniform division drug arrests over the last year. And again, those numbers are down. We're not taking near as many calls. And also, when COVID struck, we advised the officers to try to be less proactive than normal, try to minimize our accounts with the public, obviously, because we're trying to keep ourselves from getting sick. So that's part of the reason why those two numbers are down. But we're still committed to raiding lawful drugs. City of Newcastle continue to avoid drugs. The one thing that concerned me a little bit was we did have an increase this last year in gun-related arrests. Next page shows our gun arrests. They were up quite a bit. These were just straight up gun charges, not including the arrest where we ended up finding weakness. We took a firearm from somebody in the walk-in or driving. But I think, as you all know, we've seen this national increase in violent crimes and national increase of gun crimes too. The next page are traffic citations. Obviously, when we enacted and told them, hey, cut down on your proactivity, obviously stuff like that's going to increase. Our traffic accidents did increase quite a bit, but as everybody knows, we had a ton of construction. I don't know how many accidents we took down on 3 when they were on the road, but it was just a nightmare. So that's what we found out when we did all our research. Is most of them, or a large percentage of the decrease was down on Sector 3 because we're just having accidents with them right now. One big thing that you'll probably notice as you look through, our property crimes are still down from 2017 by quite a bit. You'll notice that the shoplifting is up. A couple of years ago, actually about a year and a half ago, we started writing tickets for a lot of misdemeanor charges. Shoplifting is a misdemeanor charge. We're writing citations. They're not going to jail. So that's the only reason we think shoplifting is up is they're just not being punished by sitting in jail. They're doing a ticket. We write down the next dollar for you or whatever, shoplift again. So we got to rely on the courts to get them to take care of that issue when we go to court, which when they're getting a lot of pretty good traffic tickets, then or get a ticket, they're not actually going to court, so we're ending up picking them up more later. It's just kind of consistent. One thing that is super concerning related to our drug task force. You'll notice down at the bottom where we're sitting at, when you look at the amount of meth that our drug task force has purchased in 2021 compared to everything else. It's obviously to tell by that, our biggest problem in town is methamphetamine problem.
Where does that come from?
Unlike several years ago when they were making it, the state did do a great job by removing the stuff you could buy. So all this methamphetamine is coming from Mexico. It's all what they call crystal methamphetamine. Unfortunately, Newcastle sits right between Dayton, Ohio, which is a hub, and Indianapolis, which is a hub. So what they're finding out is they got numerous houses in both towns just full of meth, full of everything. Now we have started seeing, we've had some overdoses involving what we thought were heroin, were actually fentanyl. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. We had one just a couple weeks ago. And the Mexican cartel is now pressing the fentanyl in the pills. And they look, they look like Xanax, and they look like morphine pills. So these people are thinking they're actually taking Xanax morphine, actually taking fentanyl, overdose and dying. But we haven't seen a ton of that, but I know interdiction units all across the United States, out in your state, are just getting pounds and pounds and pounds of those pills, and pounds of methamphetamine every day. So, yeah, it seems like it's really scratching the surface across the board. The last 2 years, we've not ran the DARE program because of COVID. We're looking to get that started back next year. This last year, we reduced the school resource officers down to 4 because construction on the middle school, and so we've been running 4 down here. Myself and Dr. Shoemaker reached out to me, and he's wanting to add 1 to 2 full-time SRO positions that will just work strictly in school. And I told him to contact Joel to get that started. If that's what they want, it's just coming down basically them everywhere. Right now, we're just doing 4 part-time people a day.
That comes out of your staffing?
No, the school actually pays us,
Correct.
but we staff it.
You staff it?
Yeah,
so-
it's guys that are off due on their days off, or in my case, like Thursdays, I work at school all day, and here work all day.
Okay, it's like a part-time job. I mean, it is.
It's a part-time.
A lot of law enforcement people and fire people, they work part-time job, so this is not, it's not.
Yeah, I've got like one or two people.
Extra hours.
Department, don't work part-time. But yeah, this is just the extra paid by the school separately.
Okay. Well, I just know with the staffing problems across the country, you know, if it would actually take from your resources.
No.
Or not.
Well, if we go full-time, if they pay for 2 full-time, they will remain Newcastle City police officers. They won't create a Newcastle City school. Now, some places do, but they don't want to go that way. It's small. You know, you got some bigger schools in Indianapolis. Police department is not school. We're not necessarily needing people. The reason why they want to hire 1 or 2 is because they want the same 1 or 2 officers there all the time to manage basically the SRO program. Some of the accomplishments we had in 2021, we continued the construction of the new police department. We returned our drug task force, but we were down 1 officer for a little bit because of staffing, but we got the second officer over there now. We did purchase the 10 new police cars, which I know right now it's going to be an issue going forward for us to get these cars to the order and have them available for a police car, even if we can't run the line for a while. They're telling me we're not going to be able to order until next year because they're not running any fleets. We purchased our license plate readers, and they've been working great. We've I don't know how many arrests. I've lost count on the arrests. Stolen plates, stolen vehicles, stolen people. We have found 3 people that were reported missing. We haven't hit a silver alert or an amber alert yet. It goes off almost daily on something. But we have one thing we'll find out real quick. When people report their plate stolen and lost, they just fell off. There's an affidavit. They report stolen and lost. The BMV for some reason is reissued the same number. So we get a hit for a stolen plate. It's grandma. So we've had to watch, come after the phones now. We've had to maybe drive up alongside the car to make sure it's not, the first couple were elderly people.
So do you report that
Well, what it is
so that they're not
yeah. If the plate, depending on where the plate's reported out of, we contact that agency to have them control that plate out of SCIs. We've had several. We had one stolen vehicle that was out of Georgia, and this guy, I don't know how he found the gas in the end. He came in east or west of 38. He'd been pulling burglaries all over everything. He had a stolen gun, car full of stolen stuff. He made it all the way up here. And we also purchased our rescue vehicle. I think everybody's taking a look at it. And we strengthened our police and community relations. One thing that you'll see next year and next year's annual report is that we started a way of keeping track of use of force incidents within our civilian system. We've noticed that we've had a lot of our grants and stuff. People are asking about use of force. Use of force incidents. We never had a way of tracking it. We worked with our IT guy, dispatch, where we can just basically search it, just that search and use of force for us. Some of our NCPD 2021-22 objectives. The first one is hire new officer return NCPD. We've already done that. I hired Brady Renner last month. He's doing an outstanding job so far for somebody that had not been in law enforcement. Proceed and hopefully finish the construction of the police department. Purchase new police vehicles at the budget allows, which we know right now we're not going to get those cars till next year. Continue to seek out new training opportunities for all officers. I think everybody's aware that we're required to have at least 24 hours of training a year. Most of our officers exceed that by hundreds of hours. Purchased the body worn cameras. We've got those ordered. And purchase and train our third team, which we're getting ready to try to go out and get here.
So we had all the
Yeah, we got the money for it. We're in the right direction. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask me now or look it over.
Matt would say you've done a great job. This is an example of professionalism we haven't before, so.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll proceed with committee reports. Mr. Guffey,
I have no.
Mr. Hancock,
Nothing.
Mr. Walter.
Just wanted to mention the meeting for Henry County for the Eastern Indiana Region Committee will be on Tuesday, March 22nd at the old courthouse. It will start at 10 a.m. and last until noon. So, anyone never was bothered. And just an update, again, thanks to EMS, Henry County Hospital, emergency room staff out there, Reed Hospital. I graduate Wednesday from Cardinal University. So, good job, ladies. That's all.
Mr. Dickey.
I just want to reiterate our thanks again to the council for putting the funding for that IU greenhouse gas inventory grant. Super glad to have that buttoned up because, as you know, I can't just show up to meetings and perpetuate the same stuff every night. So I'll be looking to grab my big spoon out of storage and stir up some more stuff. Thanks.
Excellent job, Mayor.
Thanks.
Anything else, Chief?
No.
Give it.
Two things. Jeff had called me last week and I went down to Margison's and we're going to be putting the banner up. I guess you can still vote it down if you want to. I ordered an American flag on a banner and then the Ukraine flag below it that says, "We're for you." I didn't want to say we stand with you or, just we're for you. So we'll be putting that up hopefully this week. They approved it today. The next few days we'll be standing up down on 3 and 38. It's just an American Ukraine flag saying that we're behind them. So any comments or any input on that?
Let's just take a voice vote for the council. How many in favor of that? Raise your hand for
Okay.
the
Okay. Didn't want to put anything on there that would be offensive to anybody. Didn't want to put our prayers for you or we're for you. So we'll be doing that soon. The street committee, I need you to drive north on South 17th Street. It's a two-way street that comes around behind it off of Grand. It comes up to, it looks like a dead end, but then it actually comes out on 18th Street. Lee, did you say that it was parking on one side at one time?
Part of the street says no parking this side. Part of the street does not. Quite frankly, there's not enough room hardly to go down through there with parking on one side. It really needs to be made parking probably on the east side of the road, and even go a step farther. It really wouldn't hurt to make South 17th off of Grand a one-way on there, and it comes around to, I think that's Erie that runs along the track. Erie, and then it comes over to Goodland Street, and just kind of make that more of a circle versus two-way traffic. Because I'll tell you what, when you guys drive it, you really can't beat, two cars really can't beat on that section of South 17th.
Somebody moved in there that has 5 vehicles and they park the majority of them out on the street, and the people who live on one side can't you can back out to get, out of their driveway, so I think we need to do something there, so take a look at that. Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, are there any citizens wishing to appear before the council? Seeing none, hearing none.
Rex, I just have
Yes.
a question. Do I need to come up and introduce myself?
You can stand up and we can put here.
I just got a shirt today.
Okay.
I did get a shirt today. I just wondered with this, supporting initiatives to reduce the negative effects, is there any, funding tied to that? Is it a budget item? How does that work? What kind of support?
I mean, if I can speak to this, in my mind, this was kind of the first step to say, hey, this is where we're going. I think, there are benchmarks in that resolution, having a plan in place by 2025, and aside from the cutting the emissions in half. So, I mean, my hope is that the administration, when it comes time, the budget will account for things like electric vehicles, recycling programs, no matter how big or small that project is. The council, obviously, like we've done with things in the past, whether it's totes, paving roads, whatever, sometimes will earmark some funds for any project I think that we feel worthy, like we've done in the past. So this is baby steps at this point, but I think
Perhaps
that's,
in the future, but
yeah, for sure.
Before we jump in, I have one thing. Could you look online where our ordinances are codified? And there are a whole bunch of not reverting funds. I mean, there's one on there, I'm sure, some of them I'm sure have been. Could you look through those and find out if we have money in any of those? And if not, there's some of those that we always get rid of, just to quit confusing people.
Right.
So maybe, okay. Last chance community,